Justin, Tyler, welcome to the first annual Library Chess Productions movie draft. So Tyler, our audience may be asking, what the hell's a movie draft? Let's tell them what a movie draft is. The movie draft is a unique, one-of-its-kind fusion of two of my personal favorite things and one of your passions in life, movies and fantasy sports. Think of this as an ongoing fantasy matchup where the score is going to change on a weekly basis all year, and we won't know who wins until the calendar turns over to 2019. Now, before we go over the rules and the settings, let's get the trash talk out of the way.
You're stuck.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I'm just so appreciative that you showed up to get demolished like this, because it's just going to be it's going to be like a Khabib Nurmagomedov beatdown from now all the way through to the end of the year. Really shows your guts.
I slept with your mom.
Damn! So the trash talk is out of the way. Let's go over and let's define in real concrete terms exactly what this movie draft is going to be. So basically, each of us is going to have a stock of 10 movies for this year that are going to be judged on criteria that we're going to go over here in a second, and based on a scoring system. And at the end of the year, one of us is going to have more points than the other one, and that person's going to be declared the winner of the first ever movie draft. And I think that person right now is wearing a green hat. So over the course of the rest of this video, we're each going to be choosing 10 movies that have yet to be released in the calendar year of 2018. It's going to be a straight draft, 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1, and so on, until we each have our stable of 10 movies. We're going to determine who has the first overall pick by a straight up coin flip. Best 2 out of 3. We're going to be using a Canadian quarter to determine this. You can't see it from this far, but just look up an image of a Canadian quarter. You got heads, and on this side, because we're Canadian, you got a moose. The scoring is going to be cumulative, which means it's going to be my 10 movies and their totals versus Tyler's 10 movies and their totals. We're going to do some averaging when it comes up to like critical scores and audience scores, but we'll get more into that when we talk about what our scoring system is. And to keep everybody in the loop, once a month, we'll be coming on here and doing update videos, letting you know how our movies have done so far, who's in the lead in terms of the matchup, and every month, whoever does not get the #1 pick on this video today gets first choice to replace one movie in their list that has not yet released. Once a movie releases, it's locked in there, your results are there, just like regular fantasy sports. But if you haven't played yet, if you haven't weighed in, you don't have to wrestle. We can make one change on each of our lists every month. Whoever doesn't win the coin flip gets first choice every month. Tyler's been sitting over here giving me stone face while I'm talking. He's trying to get in my head, trying to muck up my game plan. See right there, I can't even look at him or I'm gonna get intimidated. So why don't we talk about our scoring system?
Sure.
As we've been doing our whole lives, we're gonna turn things up to 11. This is going to be out of 11 total possible points that someone can earn. We didn't want an even number, because who the hell likes ties? Nobody wants a tie. So 11 points is what the final total at the end of the year and our monthly updated scores are going to be out of. So it could be 6-5, could be 7-4, could be 11-0, which is what it's gonna be. Ah, damn.
Beat him to it.
He finally says something, and it was pretty good.
I just bide my time.
Yeah, exactly. Just biding the time to get right in there. So, here's our scoring system. 3 of those 11 points are going to be based on worldwide box office. Now, for worldwide box office, for those purposes, we're going to be using Box Office Mojo, because that's basically the premier resource for box office numbers on the interwebs. So that's what we're going to be using, Box Office Mojo, for the worldwide totals. 2 points out of those 11 are going to be based on the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter. Now, obviously, this is not critical scores. It's literally just what percentage of critics give this a 50%. What percentage of critics would recommend this movie. We're going to take the average of all 10 scores for tomato meters for each of our 10 movies. That average is going to be our score. Whoever's got the higher score between those two is going to get those 2 points. Same deal goes for both Rotten Tomatoes average critical score and Rotten Tomatoes average audience score. Now those two scores are usually very different. But same deal. We're going to take the scores for all 10, average them out. Whoever's got the highest in each of those two categories gets 2 points each. And just to switch things up a little bit and make the math a little more complicated for me as I keep score as the year goes on, 2 points for the average score from CinemaScore, which is another, pretty highly cited resource online. They go from an A+ to an F system. I've got a 13-point scale based on those scores. So like an A+ would be 13 points, an F would only be 1 point. So again, you're going to just get your average score there, average them out for all 10 movies. Whoever's got the highest cinema score gets those 2 points. In collecting our lists, we used a very helpful Wikipedia article, and we'll give credit where credit is due. 2018 in film on Wikipedia. If the movie shows up on that list, it's eligible. But in doing our due diligence, we've also taken into consideration that movies have hit festivals, have been seen in limited theatrical runs without getting a full, wide theatrical release. So what we've tried to do is we've tried to eliminate as many of those movies as possible, because that would feel like an unfair advantage. Because you could walk in and say oh look, this has a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I already know it's got a 94%, so I'm going to pick that in order to boost my score. We wanted to eliminate that. So if it's got some critical reception that we already know about, we've done our best to eliminate those movies. Neither of us knowingly have any of those movies on our rankings lists. So now that we've gone through all the boring stuff, let's do this. We are into our 2018 movie draft, the first that we've ever done. Pretty unique as far as I'm concerned. We've scoured the internet looking for something similar to this and haven't really found much of anything. There's some movie fantasy stuff that only takes worldwide box office into account, but what's the fun in that? There's more to life than just money. There's also what critics think about movies. So we're taking that into consideration, and we're taking you, the movie fans, into consideration as well. Let's do this 2018 Library Chess Productions movie draft. So the first thing that we have to do, obviously, we have to determine who picks first. So we've got our lovely Canadian quarter. Let's see, what year is this? 2006, that's a pretty good year. Clerks 2, I believe. So that's a pretty good year. 2006 Canadian quarter. We're gonna flip this. Best 2 out of 3 is going to win. So at this point, I'm actually, since I've got the coin and I'll be doing the flipping, I'm going to defer to you. Would you rather have heads or tails?
Moose.
You want moose?
Tails.
So he's got the moose, he's got the tails, I've got the heads. What we're going to do, whoever wins the 2 out of 3 is then going to have their choice. Do you want the first overall pick, or would you rather have right of first change when we do the update videos once a month from here on out? Any further comment before we get going?
No, I'm ready to kick your ass.
You ready to go? You ready to kick my rear? Kick my
tiny?
Kick my tail as you've chosen tails?
This
That's
guy.
pretty good. All right, let's stop stalling. Let's do this. First flip of the quarter. There's the tails. That's 1-0 for Tyler.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
Can't get tail in real life, but I can here.
Yeah, there's the tie.
Oh, what?
Heads.
Damn
All right.
it.
Here we go. Let's just roll them dice.
I'm already calling it rigged.
Daddy needs a new pair of everything.
Daddy needs some friends.
Ah, damn it.
Still don't have friends.
All right, so tails wins 2-1. So Tyler has his choice. Would you rather the first overall pick?
I want the first overall pick.
You want the first overall pick? All right. So Tyler's going to take the first overall pick, which means every month when we come back, I will have the right of first change if I want to change anything on my list.
Okay, my first pick in the 2018 Library Chess Productions movie draft is, and this will be no surprise, the Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah, no big surprise there. I think we probably could have said right at the beginning of this that was going to be the first pick. It was the number 1 pick on my rankings, so it absolutely makes sense.
I mean, we already know it's going to make a ton of money, but it's one of these things where it has a good chance of kind of cleaning up in every other
Exactly.
category. So it's basically a potential home run.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Like whoever didn't get this has a disadvantage
for sure
for the rest of it.
The Avengers Infinity War is basically the Connor McDavid of the movie draft.
Yeah.
If you get Connor McDavid, you're pretty well, you win.
You can kind of sit back on certain categories a little bit.
It's true. It's true.
So I didn't want to take a boring pick, but it's like it had to be done.
It's true. It's true. My first pick in the 2018 Library Chess Productions movie draft is Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Fuck.
Is that your number two?
That was my just in case for box office.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's one of the only things that'll come close.
Because at this point, like in the first round, certainly in the first round, you're thinking, what's going to make the most money?
Yeah.
If you assume Avengers is the first pick, then you got to get something in there that's going to at least compete with it, if nowhere else at the box office. And that's why I had to go. I was between another one, but I was like, you know what? Even if Jurassic World is a bad movie, it's going to make a ton of money. So
yeah, that's the one thing it has working against it, is that it might not be a very good movie. It looks better than the first one, which I actually enjoyed the first one, but it looks better, so you might be able to do decently on that. But
it's true.
Yeah, that was going to be a total box office play. Just have something that so the deficit wasn't so
exactly.
Okay, my second pick is The Incredibles 2.
Wow. Okay.
Kind of a weird one. It's a weird one. It won't make as much money, obviously, as these other ones, but it's Incredibles is a respected property by a respected company that does make money. Mm-hmm. I think it'll get good reception all around. Yeah. So it may not clean up in all of the categories, but I think it'll do well.
It's interesting because there's actually kind of like Jurassic World. There's pros and cons to it, right? Yeah. Sequelitis. Yeah. But it's also been like 10 years. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like, probably not. And it's a kids movie, and if it's a good kids movie, that has the potential to clean up. It really does. So that was in my top 10. My second pick is Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Now, I had a little bit of hesitation about this because it has kind of gotten a little bit of negative backlash because of the whole Johnny Depp of it all. Yeah. So it's gotten a little bit of that, but man, I tell you, the Harry Potter fandom does not give a damn about that. Yeah. They don't. The Harry Potter fandom is going to come out in droves to this movie. It's going to kill at the box office. The first one was received pretty well, and this one I think is going to be different enough that it's still going to be received pretty well. It's still got Eddie Redmayne at the head of it, so I still think this is going to do really well. There's some intrigue about young Dumbledore. People want to see that, right? So that's going to be my second pick, the second Fantastic Beasts. Everything we've picked so far has been a sequel. This is basically just the year of sequels.
Yeah, that was on my top 10, but I'm not too hurt to not have it because while I pretty much agree with everything you're saying, it'll make good money. It'll make great money, but it's not going to. But the reception, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, reception.
So that's why it's kind of lower.
Could be a question mark. Just to make mention, this is why I love fantasy sports and fantasy drafts so much, because already we've both been punched in the mouth. Yeah. Because things have been different than we kind of each of us thought it was going to go, and that's again, it's the great rule. Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. So do you stick to your plan? Do you call audibles? I know we're both at least thinking audible at this point. So it's really interesting how the rest of this draft is going to go. I can't wait for Tyler's third pick.
My third pick is Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yep.
Because I mean, it'll make good money. Yep. They do. The series is back on track.
Very much so.
Rogue Nation and Ghost Protocol, which are both great movies. Mm-hmm. And there's a little bit of personal here because I like Mission Impossible a lot, so I want to cheer for it.
Definitely.
So that's why I picked it. I think it'll do real well on reception. I think it'll do good enough on box office.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's nice to see the Mission Impossible franchise back on track because it's just sad. Like the last, like when it was really at its low point, it's like, this is unfortunate. I want this to be better than it is. It's still making money. Don't get me wrong. Nobody's going broke off this. But like I just like, man, I want these movies to be better. And like you say, with Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation, like they've been two really good movies. I've expressed to you my affinity for Tom Cruise and in those Tom Cruise roles.
And Mission Impossible 1 is one of my favorite movies of all time.
There you go.
Like top 20.
My third pick is Deadpool 2. I was very close between this and another movie that I think box office wise they're going to do virtually the same thing, and I was between which one do I think is going to be received better, and I think this one's going to be received just that little bit better. And I haven't jumped on the superhero bandwagon yet because I didn't get Avengers. So
I've been like so much like, Incredibles, Avengers.
So I was like,
Tom Cruise is basically a superhero.
It's true. So I had to grab something. So my third pick is The Pool.
On a personal level, for I think both of us, we kind of want this to be our first pick because it's Deadpool. It's Deadpool 2. I mean, Deadpool.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But if we gotta be honest with ourselves, like the tomato meter of the first one was good.
Yep.
It was in the 80s, that's when I checked. It was fine. Critical reception was fine. Audience reception was much higher.
Obviously.
So that's why I had Deadpool 2 at 4, but I kept kind of nogging it back because I was like, it'll do well.
Yeah.
And we're gonna love it. But that's not what matters.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we can contribute in small ways to audience reception, but not on the websites that we're using. So it's like, all right, I'm going to take Deadpool for the third rounder because again, I was between two, very very close, but Deadpool gets the edge because now I think the secret is out. Right? Yeah. That first movie was a secret almost when it first started, and everybody was like, "Oh my god!" And then obviously it hit it came in literally came in like a wrecking ball. But now the secret's out. I think the secret's going to be out with critics. I think the secret's now obviously out with a larger audience, so that's why. Plus, I had to steal it from him because he's got Deadpool on his hat, and that's another punch in the mouth in this draft.
Yeah, that is because I want it to be the best movie ever, but but I can't now. Okay. My fourth pick is Sicario 2.
Wow,
it's the weird one.
It's not even that it's not a weird one for you because but as far as my rankings go, that for me at least is off the board.
This is a screw the box office one.
Right.
The first one did okay, I guess.
It did,
but it wasn't anything.
Certainly for its budget.
I wouldn't have chosen this because I was like, how do you do a sequel to Villeneuve's best movie? I mean, I've seen the trailer or trailers. It looks awesome, so I'm hoping that takes people.
It does.
It has the same writer as the first one and a director who knows the crime genre because he's done a bunch of stuff like that.
Right.
So I'm kind of hoping, but this is the first one where I feel a little insecure.
Right.
That the reception drives this one. I mean, I don't think it'll be as good as Villeneuve's because Villeneuve is Villeneuve.
Right.
But I'm taking a chance.
All right. Like I say, that for me, that was big time off the board. That would have been, as far as my rankings go, that movie would have been available to you at 10.
Yeah.
So, but that's not to say anything because I could be totally wrong. So it's you never know.
You're probably gonna be right on this.
You never know.
This is a weird one. People that watch this are probably like, what?
My fourth pick is Solo: A Star Wars Story. I'm banking on. Now. Is it off the board? Okay, no worries.
That was my next pick.
Oh, was it really? All right, right on. It's again. I'm banking on the Star Wars fandom. Obviously, I mean, it's a Star Wars movie. It's going to make a bunch of money. If it's anywhere near as good as Rogue One, even in the ballpark as good as Rogue One, then the fan support, the fan scores are going to be there. The critical scores are going to be there because the critics and fans both enjoyed Rogue One. It's obviously a different tenor than the mainline Star Wars movies. So if it's anywhere near the quality of Rogue One, then I will hopefully be in good shape here. So that's why Solo is my number 4 pick.
I'm hoping for the sake of the movie draft that it's that it's a mess. I know it's gonna make money,
right?
But because of the production, I was kind of.
You're hoping that it's the Phantom Menace.
Right. I was gonna. Like as you said it, I'm like I should have picked that. That could have been mine because I should have went with the easy money. My fifth pick is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Nice.
Now this was originally lower on my pick, but because I kind of gimped my box office a little bit last time, I think I'm going to go with something a little more balanced.
Yep.
I think this will make good money. You know, it won't make Avengers money by any means, but it'll make good money, and I think it'll be fairly well received. So
first one made almost $600 million, I think, at the box office. So
that's a good amount of money. Yep. So I'm just trying to get back with a little bit of money, but still keep the other stuff pretty decent.
Yeah, and like you say, it was fairly well received.
Yeah.
So, you know, and like you say, it's not Avengers, but I mean, in the fifth round, it doesn't have to be, right? So, and if it was, that would be terrifying. My fifth pick will close out the first half of the movie draft. Like, movie draft will be half done at the end of this pick. And my fifth pick is Bumblebee. So, going a little bit off the board, but here's my logic behind it. It's going to make Transformers money while being better than Transformers. Because Michael Bay is not directing it. He's still producing it. So it's still going to look like a Michael Bay movie. But it's not going to necessarily be a Michael Bay movie. And I think away from the line of Transformers movies that have that stigma behind them, I don't think this is going to be Citizen Kane. It might be the Citizen Kane of Transformers movies, but it's not going to be Citizen Kane by any means. But I think it's going to be more well received because it's strictly a Michael Bay Transformers movie. But it's still going to look like a Michael Bay Transformers movie. Yeah. And I think it's set back in the 80s or something like that, so I think it'll have a different feel to it, but still kind of have that Michael Bay look. So I'm gonna take a slight risk maybe, and I'm gonna go Bumblebee.
Yeah, I didn't want that. I think I had like 26.
Really? Oh, wow.
30 that I did. So, because here's the thing, this could go the way you're saying. It could be better than Transformers, and it'll make good money, but it won't make great money because the last Transformers, there's a little bit of fatigue. That was what kind of swayed me. I was like, I didn't know whether to put that higher up or not. I ended up going with not because I have no faith in it.
Right.
But it will make some money. The reception might be poor. I wasn't willing to risk that because I can't foresee a world where a Transformers movie is received really well.
It's tough.
So,
it's a tough thing.
The money, like Jurassic World, the money would have been enough
right.
for me to pick it as it was my number 2. But you can have this one.
All right, folks. We're halfway home in the movie draft. Let's take a little pause and update you on our rosters so far. Second half of the movie draft, and we switched sides because it's our video. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah. My 6th pick is Widows.
Wow!
This is a total... I have faith in Steve McQueen. Because while I don't think this is going to be as important as 12 Years a Slave was, because that was a big deal to people because racism and slavery, Steve McQueen is exceptional. I don't think it's going to make much money. It's not going to have that push of 12 Years a Slave.
Right.
But it has Steve McQueen directing, who's exceptional. It has Gillian Flynn writing, who is a good writer. She's a good writer. I'm going with a reception play again on this one.
This is nowhere on my rankings at all.
It also helps that it's a movie I'm really excited for, but that's not why I picked it. But yeah, I'm going with Widows. We haven't always had the most success, like Ghostbusters with all women and stuff. Right. I'm not saying because of the women, I'm just saying that there's this backlash for some reason of, it's all women, but this isn't a remake of a beloved property. So I'm hoping that has the girl power to drive it too. But I won't be surprised if this doesn't help me at all, but I'm going for the reception.
Right. Where Where Sicario 2 was not a surprise at all. Zero surprise because I know how much you love that first movie. This is big. Like, this is so far off the board I can't see it. It's in space as far as I'm concerned.
Well, he made 12 Years a Slave.
Exactly.
He made Hunger, which also did well, which I actually really loved.
Yeah. My 6th pick is kind of like Tyler's 4th pick. It's kind of a screw the box office. I just want to do this because I want this. I want this person on my team.
This is the first time you did the screw the box office.
It is. It is. Because I've been sticking with the way I did sort of the pre-drafts, kind of based with a little bit of box office. But
I know who this is.
Do you really?
I don't know.
I don't know. I was gonna say, my 6th pick is Captive State.
Wow, that one was.
Okay, Rupert Wyatt, whose first film debuted at Sundance, had a ton of acclaim, really put him on the map. His second flick, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, how much did I love that movie? It showed he could do a big blockbuster. It was his second movie. Now this is going to be Captive State, and it teams up Rupert Wyatt and my boy John motherfucking Goodman.
Yes.
So this is going to be performance pornography. Critics are going to love this. Rupert Wyatt is a great director. I think this is going to make some money. It's low budget. It's only like $25 million or something like that on the budget. I think this is going to make some money, but I think this is going to be incredibly well received. It's a sci-fi crime thriller.
Yeah.
And his first movie, The Escapist, when it debuted at Sundance, that was a thriller as well. He's got experience in this genre. I think this is going to be great. So I'm going with Captive State.
Yeah, now that you remind me which one it was. Yeah. I had it at 25.
Did you?
But it's a movie that I really want to see.
Yeah.
I just am not sure on it, so I didn't want to prioritize it. But that's an interesting pick.
And this was off the board for me. This was not ranked.
My 7th pick is going to counter your last pick.
Wow.
With something I think is going to be received even better. Mine's First Man. Because director of La La Land, which actually I just looked that up, made a lot more money than I thought it did. Like that made good money. No, I don't think this will make that kind of money.
Of course, it's Hollywood giving itself a hand job. Like,
but I didn't realize how much money that movie made. Because he also made Whiplash, and that was, while apparently a really great movie, I didn't get to see it.
Me either.
Didn't make as much money. It made good for its budget, but it didn't make like a crap ton of money. But this is pure reception. This is probably one of the ones that's pure reception that I got the most faith in. Not even because it's one I necessarily want to see.
Right.
I don't even really want to see this one, but I gotta counter Captive State with one that I can almost guarantee is going to be received well.
I would imagine. I'd be more than surprised if it's considered a miss. My 7th pick to counter his my 7th pick is another one that I'm saying, the heck with the box office. I think this is going to be received incredibly well. Is a movie called Beautiful Boy. And it's directed by a virtual no-name. He hasn't really done much of anything. But Steve Carell in a dramatic role, which he proved that he could do with Foxcatcher. So it's Steve Carell playing a father figure, watching his son deal with like meth addiction, I believe it is, and his son's being played by Timothée Chalamet, who obviously had a huge 2017 with Call Me by Your Name, and he was in like 4 things last year, so he had a huge 2017. He's a hot name right now. He was nominated for an Oscar, nominated for Golden Globes, all across the board. So even though it's being directed by somebody that hasn't really made it big yet, this has the potential to be the kind of movie that can break somebody through.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to go with Beautiful Boy, and it was kind of a toss-up between this and another one, which I may take with my 8th pick, but for 7, it's going to be Beautiful Boy.
Yeah, I had, funny enough, because your last pick was Captive State, right?
Yep.
Funny enough, I had on my list, like at 24, I think it was, Beautiful Boy, 25, Captive State.
Oh, really? All right, right on.
My 8th pick is Wreck-It Ralph 2, also known as Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Yep.
I just want to get on the board with a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
but I think it will make pretty good money. The first was received well. I think it'll be good enough to get me a little bit of points all across the board.
Yeah.
Because I was going a little heavy there on reception. But also a movie that will probably be pretty good.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think, and again, like kids' movies, you can always kind of bank on kids' movies being good, and and or good at the very least at box office. And the fact that that movie has so many like gaming references and things like that. Now this one's a little bit different, obviously, because now you're like, oh, I've discovered the internet. So there's interesting places that this movie could go. I think it'll actually be entertaining for adults as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully they kind of play reference to like the darker side of the internet, not exploring
so
it.
They're gonna buy guns.
Yeah, exactly.
Drugs.
They find the deep. Ralph finds the deep web. Stuff like that. But I think there'll be stuff in the. Yeah, I know that was just outside my top 10, and I think that's a strong pick. My 8th pick, and I don't think I can put it off any longer. It's the only movie that I still have ranked in the top 10. It's still on the board, and I don't think I can let it fall any further. So I'm going to go and I'm going to grab it. My 8th pick is Aquaman. And I'm grabbing it because what have been in general, to the general audience, what has been the good DC movies? It's been Wonder Woman. And I guess maybe, could you argue one of the standalone Superman ones?
Some people, Man of Steel is, I think, received decently.
Right. The standalones have been where they've found success. Anytime, at least critically, and sort of with the audience, there's this stink on DC when they combine the characters, right? And I think there's enough interest in Jason Momoa as a person, and as the sexy man thing that he is, that this vision of Aquaman, I think, is going to not only do well at the box office, because it's going to make its money. It's not going to be as good as Wonder Woman, I'm not going to say that, but it's going to be more comparable to Wonder Woman than, say, the like Suicide Squad and the ones where, and I know we don't agree with this, but Batman vs Superman in terms of the way it was received. Hey Tyler, you look like you have something to say. Do you?
Yes, I certainly do. I want to keep talking about Aquaman here for a sec.
Yeah.
I don't have faith that movie's coming out.
Oh, really? Okay.
That was like what originally eliminated it.
Okay.
But now the director, James Wan, has come out and said they're just waiting to show a trailer and stuff. So probably it's coming out. Right. But with the problems that DC has had, I just couldn't bring myself to choose it. Now, I think it'll make some decent money. It might even be a decent movie. Might get received decently well, but history has told us I don't have a tremendous amount of faith in him as a director, but he could come out and nail it, like collaborate, and that would be great.
Yeah.
Cause I like some of his movies. I don't have a lot of faith in that. And this comes from a guy I've really liked the DC movies.
Yeah.
So
you are like a standard deviation higher on those movies than most other people.
Yeah, I love Batman vs Superman.
Yep.
I say that all the time.
Absolutely.
My 9th pick is Under the Silver Lake.
Yep.
Mostly because of the director of It Follows, which I don't think that It Follows was necessarily as great as the critics thought. It was a good movie, but I thought the premise was scarier than the actual execution. It's not about what I think; it's about what the critics think on this one, because I think that it'll be critically received. It'll be well received critically. So, since we're nearing the end, I'm gonna go with some maybe strange ones, or with some more known movies I could have went with, but I'm gonna put some faith in Under the Silver Lake.
That was one of the ones that just fell short of being ranked for me. It was just missed the stuff that was kind of on the bottom of my actual rankings, but there were ones that my 2 of my last 3 picks came from stuff that I didn't have ranked. So it was right in there, and I was kind of looked at it and I was like, oh man, there's reasons to take this, but I think I'm going to shy away. My 9th pick is Mowgli. Andy Serkis and motion capture. Your move, champ. So it's Andy Serkis directed, and it's going to feature motion capture work by Andy Serkis and Benedict Cumberbatch and Cate Blanchett and Christian Bale. So it's got good actors behind it. It's obviously The Jungle Book, a very known property, and just Andy Serkis just home runs this motion capture stuff. So I love Andy Serkis, and the fact that he's going to be directing it, it's his creative vision, it's a proven property. I'm going to go with it. I think it makes a ton of money. So I'm going to go Mowgli, number 9, and I think it's going to be received well too.
Yeah, that's a good pick that I either just completely ignored or didn't even see.
This is Tyler's 10th pick, which means this is his last pick of the draft. You've made it all the way through to the end of the draft. Let's see. Hit me with it there, wannabe champ. Hit me with it, Deadpool hat.
Alright, my 10th pick is Bad Times at the El-Royale.
Oh, that was one that I was thinking about. Alright.
This might be one that comes off. I don't know. Because I had to choose between a different one that was more of a balanced pick and then another one like this, which is a critical play on my part. Because Drew Goddard is a great writer, even though he did World War Z, which was a meh, whatever. But he's also done Cabin in the Woods, and that was the only other movie he directed, and that movie was fantastic and well received. And I don't remember how it did financially, but that's it. It's a total critical play. I don't think it's going to make a crap ton of money, but you never know; it could break through. And
that struck me as so interesting. That struck me as almost. Not the fact that you picked it, the movie itself struck me as almost as interesting as it did the first time I heard of like The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
I was just like, ooh, I am super interested in that. And when I heard about Bad Times at the El-Royale, I'm like, oh, I'm super interested in that.
This was my number 8 ranked movie.
Nice.
I just left it because I'm just not sure. It's one of the ones I'm most anticipating this year.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure. So I kept pushing it back. But I want to end it on a weird one. So I might get rid of it.
This is the final pick in the draft. And I'm between 4. And I don't know which one I'm going to use for pick number 10 quite yet.
Probably should have figured that out before you started talking.
No, it's fine. Because I'm gonna ramble just the tiniest bit to talk it out in my head. Because I'm pretty, like I say, I'm between 4. But I think I'm gonna have to go with my gut and with the movie that's left that I want to see the most. And I think I'm gonna go with that. And like you said with your 10th rounder, this could very easily fall off next month. You know what I mean? Who knows? But my number 10 is Alita Battle Angel. Because we're taking into account worldwide box office. This is gonna make no money in North America.
No, it isn't.
This is going to make truckloads of money in Asia. And it's just the kind of movie, the sci-fi movie, the like heavy CGI, but the CGI looks really good. It's just that kind of movie that I think is going to get me. Now, you have situations like Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets where that didn't happen. Critical reception, I think, is going to be, like, it's going to be certainly better than something like A Ghost in the Shell, because there's no casting controversy this time, which was ridiculous anyway. But that's the way that I think it's going to go. I think it's going to make a bunch of money. Alita Battle Angel, not only the last pick of the draft, but it's the last pick of my stable. So, the movie draft has been completed, and here are our picks. Concluded. Best of luck this year. We'll probably see the vast majority of these movies together, and we'll probably even have some reviews of some of these movies up on the old channel. And that's going to do it for the first ever Library Chess Productions movie draft. Any thoughts to send us off with? Any parting thoughts?
You're gonna lose.
I'm gonna lose super hard. The second you picked Avengers, it was over.
Yeah,
it was done for me. So, that's going to do it. We will see you again in the month of May at some point when we give you the first update on the movie draft. And look, Sometimes I may not even have any movies that I don't have all the release dates right away in the top of my head for everything that I picked. I may not even have anything that releases between now and then, and Tyler could be out to an 11-0 lead with Avengers. But that's the way fantasy sports changes. May it could be 11-0. June it could be 6-5. Yeah. July it could be 7-4. It's going to change, and it would change on a weekly basis, and that's what's so fun about it. I'll be keeping tally of the numbers. Obviously, I will be completely impartial and give you the correct, all the correct numbers. Rigged right from the start. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's going to do it for us. Tyler, Justin, Library Chess Productions. Follow us down here, and we'll see you again in May.